Good morning. Gosh, you're getting horrible glare. Okay, well, I'm going to try something today. I'm going to do a little bit of a live to see how it works. And comments and suggestions are appreciated. So let's give it a try. I might turn the lights off. Gosh, cooking in the dark with me. Okay, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do my spinach pies. Everybody keeps asking me, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? So I figured, well, I'll show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first, I made the dough already. I'm letting it rise. I got the oven on at 400 to kind of get a little warm so it will rise, but the dough is not in the oven. It's on top with the cover. Next we've got to do is we actually have to squeeze the water out of the spinach, because if you don't, it's horrible. So what I'm using actually is, if you can see it, it's a piece of cheesecloth, really easy. And I'm going to kind of try to grab my camera and bring it over here and point it down so you can see what I'm going to do. So I've got the cheesecloth on the counter, and I've gotten just frozen chopped spinach. And I literally have microwaved it and let it cool, because if you don't let it cool, it's so hot you can't handle it. And then I just lay it out nicely on the cheesecloth. It's really simple. I'm only going to do a small amount at a time because I find it's easier if you do a little bit at a time. Pardon me, I'm washing my hands off. I don't like the spinach on my fingers. So then I just kind of roll it over, and then I just literally, and I'm going to actually come over here so you can see my lovely sink. And then what I'm going to do is over the sink, I'm just going to twist the cheesecloth, literally twisting it. And you notice all that water just dripping right out of it. Again, you want the spinach nice and dry. And the reason why I let it cool is so I can really manhandle it, because if you don't let it cool, it's so hot that you'll get burnt, and I don't want anybody to get burnt. So make sure that you literally cool the spinach. And you want to keep twisting it around until you get no water coming out of that cheesecloth. And that seems really good. I'll give it another little good squeeze. And now what I do is I have a great mixing bowl from Pampered Chef, the medium-sized one, and I just take and drop that spinach right into the bowl. And I do the same procedure again. And basically what I do again is I come in with that lovely spinach, lay it on the cheesecloth. It's hot still. It's still a hot spot in the center, but that's okay. I can work with it. Okay, so again, I'm just rolling that spinach up in the cheesecloth, and I'm literally, again, twisting. You hear the water coming out of that? It's amazing how much water. Now, some people suggest putting it in a colander, or a fine mesh colander, or a regular strainer, putting a plate on top and putting heavy weights. I've tried it, and to be honest, it really, for me, doesn't work. So the method of literally putting it in cheesecloth and straining it, honestly, works the best. And if you want to try the plate with the colander, go. Whoops, had a little connection error. Okay, so again, rolling it in, and I've just got a heavy-duty cutting board that I'm using so I can stay right here at the sink. Ooh. I think I have one more batch to squeeze. Yeah, just about. One little bit left. And I like to clean as I go when I do my kitchen stuff, so I don't have as big a mess to clean up when I'm done, which helps, especially when you're cooking a lot of different things at once. And the holidays are coming, guys, so guess what? A lot of different things at once. Okay. Okay. And the cool thing about using the cheesecloth is literally when you're done, you can throw it away. And you don't have to worry about it. So that's a good thing. Okay, wipe up my hands a little bit. Covered in spinach. So as you can see, I got the spinach in the bowl, which now it's nice and dry. See it? Dry, dry, dry. Amazingly dry, which is good because you don't want it watery. Because if you do, you get soggy spinach pies, and you don't want soggy spinach pies. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add some seasoning to the spinach mix. Really simple. Olive oil. Love olive oil. I love extra virgin olive oil. And what I do is I usually, really great tip, I usually buy a big bottle when it's on sale, even like when it's buy one, get one. And even though it's just me, I buy a whole big bottle, and then I actually keep one little bottle, one little glass bottle that I like, and I just refill it because I'm cheap. Or, as my friend would say, you're frugal. And what I'm going to do is I'm adding about half a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm going to see how it looks once I add the half a tablespoon. And I'm just going to use, right now, a fork because I want to mix it up pretty good. And I want to be able to see what's going on. So I'm going to try to move you so you have a down angle of what I'm doing. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. This is my live video. Everybody who watches this after is going to have a great giggle. Okay, so back to what I'm trying to do, and that's get it so you can see what I'm just going to have to get it out. Okay, hopefully you can see it. I know I can't. I'm in the kitchen. Well, I'm going to give up. You're just going to have to imagine you can see what I'm doing right now. If I do this, you might be actually able to see. Okay, so I've added this oil. I'm looking at it, and it's still a little dry, so I'm going to add a half teaspoon more. Mix it up. That looks much better. Now, what I add to my mix, really simple. I add freshly grated pepper, and I love my Pampered Chef salt and pepper grinder. Amazing. Great tool. I actually use kosher salt, and I always have a little bowl of it hanging around, and I put just a pinch of kosher salt in. Then I want to add some Italian seasonings. I also usually add some fresh oregano, fresh ginger, fresh basil when I have it, which right now I don't have any handy. And I've lost my knife. And I ran out of Italian seasoning. So I'm opening a new bottle. And I just literally shake it. You want about a teaspoon to teaspoon and a half of Italian seasoning. Now, another thing I like to add to this is either roasted red pepper or sun-dried tomato. Now you can make your own sun-dried tomatoes. I actually buy mine in a jar. I do roast some though. Actually, when I have by the little grape peppers, I actually take a tablespoon of olive oil, sea salt, some black pepper, and a garlic that I press, and I mix it all together in a bowl, and I put it on my little rectangle toaster oven baking pan, stoneware baking pan from Pampered Chef, and I actually put them in the oven about 275, and I just let them sit there, which is really great. And when they get nice and caramely and ooey, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this juice and drizzle a little bit of the sun-dried tomato juice in the bowl too. So that's why I didn't add too much oil, because I actually add some of the oil in the juice. Okay, so I'm going to season that. And now if you can see what I'm doing, I'm pointing it at me. I'm pointing at the bowl, so you can see that. And then we're going to mix it up. And of course, we have to add our garlic. Garlic, do you know, is so good for you. In this time of year with the flu, cold, everything going around, you definitely want to add some garlic to your diet. And raw garlic is really great if you can handle eating raw garlic. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just literally cutting off the back, the little end. And then, you don't have to, but I like to. I've got my lovely Pampered Chef garlic press. I love it. I actually bought one 18 years ago for my first Pampered Chef show from my good friend Colleen Murphy. And literally, this is the one that I got bought 18 years ago. I have a new one that came with my Pampered Chef's kit. So I actually have 2 garlic presses, and I cannot tell you how many times both of them are being used. Because my daughter comes in the kitchen and helps me, and she has her press and I have mine. And it's so easy. All you have to do is squeeze it. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It's unbelievable. Now, comes with a little kit, but I actually get to use the back of my knife. That's just me. So now what I'm doing is I'm literally just knocking off all that good garlicky juices, okay, into my bowl. And I'm going to stir this up again. And I'm just going to let it sit. I'm putting it off to the side because I'm getting ready. So I don't even have to worry about getting it cold, because when I'm done with this, I'm actually going to start putting it into the dough. So don't refrigerate it. Just let it sit on the counter and let it kind of get all that goodness together. I wish you could smell this. It is so wonderful. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the cheese. I love cheese. Don't you love cheese? Cheese is like the best thing in the entire world. Now, excuse me. I'm telling you, I would not make a good cooking show host for the Food Network. They would fire me. PBS wouldn't even look at me. I am not that great. Anyway, so I'm using some mozzarella and, of course, my favorite Parmigiano Reggiano. Yummy. And ricotta. Gotta have the ricotta. And an egg. Now, did you know that buying pre-shredded cheese is not good because they actually add an additive to it to keep keep the cheese from clumping. Yuck. Who wants to eat a chemical additive? And it costs you more money. So, my suggestion, Pampered Chef, micrograter, have to love it. You will never, ever, ever buy pre-shredded cheese again. Garlic, yes, Rhonda, it is absolutely yummy. Thank you for joining me this morning, Rhonda. I miss you, babe. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my little stand here, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'll try to get a good angle for you. And garlic, don't laugh, Rhonda. And Haley, thank you for my beautiful nails. Guys, if you are interested in nails, you have got to get in touch with me. I'll get you in touch with Haley. She is amazing. She's doing, oh gosh, tell me the name again. Jamboree. Oh, I always forget the name. Haley will probably pipe in and type a comment and tell me what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally take the mozzarella cheese and I'm just running it on that grater. So as you can see, I'm getting, and it's, don't be afraid to grate your own cheese. I mean, look at this great pile of cheese. It's amazing. Ah, look at that. Haley just told me it's Jamboree. Jamberry. How can I forget Jamberry? That's so easy to remember. Well, you know, and now I'm on a crooked angle, but that's okay, everybody. So again, we're just grating this cheese, and you can see, I want you to see how great this cheese grates. And we're just trying to grate about a cup of mozzarella. And I kind of eyeball it. I'm as bad as my grandmother. I can remember my grandmother being in the kitchen with Grandma. I love being in the kitchen with my grandmother. And I can remember her saying, oh, it's just a little pinch of this, a little pinch of that. And I'm like, what's a pinch of this and what's a pinch of that? She never wrote anything down. And she never used, you know, if she did a recipe from a cookbook, she did it. And then after she did it a couple times, she never took it out. She just put it together. Poof, we're done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my lovely back behind you, and since I've used all my other bowls, I'm going to take out my paper chip large mixing bowl, and I'm going to grab that cheese, I'm going to put it in the bowl. Yummy mozzarella cheese, look at that, isn't that amazing? And I grated it myself. So now, we want to try to use the Parmesan and get the Parmesan going. That's about a cup. I don't know. I want more mozzarella. I want mine good and stringy. You know, when you bite into it and pull it, it all pulls apart and it's stringy. And I keep looking up and I see these beautiful little purple nails staring at me in my live feed. And I'm like, oh my God. And of course, as I said to Haley and Kaylee, the girls are all going to go crazy tomorrow because Miss Hamilton is wearing something on her fingers. You know how kids are. So next we're going to do is we're literally going to do some Parmigiana. And you can use a fine grater, but I like mine big and chunky. So that's what I'm doing. And you don't have to add a lot of this. Look at how easy that is. This is a hard cheese. And look how easy it is. Now, I'm not using the protective sleeve because they actually have an attachment that slides on. So when you get down small, you don't have to worry about basically chewing up your fingers. And I'm tapping to get that cheese off the grater. And I love my flexible mats. I literally can just tap and dump into the bowl, which is amazing. So now I have the Parmesan and the mozzarella. Now I'm going to be doing some ricotta. And I'm cutting the top. So I've got the ricotta cheese. And I have my all-purpose Measure All cup. Love this thing. You cannot believe how great it is. And I'm actually going to come in and set it up for a cup, which is really cool. And we're just going to, we want about a cup of mozzarella, not mozzarella, ricotta. Sometimes you do more depending on, you know, I do more sometimes depending on how I'm feeling. If I really want cheese, I add a lot more, but usually a cup to a cup and a half of ricotta cheese is good. And you have to kind of look at the consistency of the cheese mixture. And I'm literally packing it in way too thick. So I'm going to just kind of scoop a little bit off here. And the thing I love about these cups, watch this. Here's my bowl. Here's the cheese. Literally pop, and it's all in the bowl. No struggling to get out. And this is amazing for honey, for molasses, all that kind of stuff. You'll love it. So then I'm doing all of this. I just love it. So I've got my little mixing batter scoop from Pampered Chef again. 1 egg. Now, trick with eggs. Take it, tap it on the counter. Then turn it over. Okay? Then crack it and open it. Less chances of getting yolk in your bowl. Not yolk, but shells in your bowl. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more kosher salt. And I'm actually going to measure this out because I don't want to get too much. I'm going to measure out the Italian seasoning because I don't want to get too much in the cheese mixture. Because don't forget, we've already put some in the spinach. So I'm actually doing a teaspoon and just a teaspoon. And of course, some more black pepper. And I always give it a shake to get that residue stuff off. My vampire Catherine is up. And I am literally stirring this in my bowl. And you want to stir it up nice and good. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I have to give a shout out to my egg. I bought my eggs yesterday at the farmer's market in Lakeland. And I know for those of you who know my parents, like, why don't you get eggs from mom and dad? There hasn't been any eggs lately. So I've been buying eggs at the farmer's market. So I got my bowl, and I'm going to put this off to the side. Actually, I'm going to throw it right in my refrigerator. Now we get to check the dough, because that should be just about ready to go. You with me? Sophie's the only one watching. Nope, I got another watch. Oh, Haley's still there. Okay, so guys, how am I doing? I need thumbs up, likes, dislikes. Tell me if I'm doing lousy. Because you're my guinea pig test today. That's me cleaning the decks. Now, made this about 45 minutes ago. Honest to gosh, look at how big and fluffy this is. Now, this is the classic batter bowl from Pampered Chef. I cannot tell you how much I love doing my pizza dough in this because it's got this great cover on top. I don't have to put saran wrap or anything else. I can actually do it right from the cover. So I'm going to uncover the bowl. Yay. Now, couple tricks with working with dough. One, don't be afraid. Because if you're afraid, you're not going to get very far. And two, you want to work it out on a floured surface. So I just take and put a little flour on my counter. I'm going to show you here in just a second. So I do is put a little flour on my counter. I just take my hand and swish it around so I cover the surface. You don't want to get too much because then you have too much dough, flour, and then it gets in your dough, and then that's not good either. Really, it's not. Okay, so we're going to dump this out of the bowl. And I wish I could get my lovely stand to stand up so you can see what I'm doing. But it keeps... This is where I need assistance. I'm going to need a camera person when I do my big live event for my party that I'm doing next week in a couple weeks. Remind me, Haley, we got to find a camera person to run around with my iPhone, videotaping all of this. Hopefully you can see it. Oh, good, you can see. Okay, so now I'm going to take the pizza dough and I'm going to pull it out of the bowl. And you notice I did it really gently. I didn't like beat on it. Okay, and it's really soft and airy, And I just kind of lightly knead it over a few times. You don't want to do too much. This is one of those doughs where some you have to knead a lot. This one you need a little bit. And then what I do is I just kind of work it, and I actually just kind of roll it into like a little snake. Best way to describe it. It's sticking to my counter, so I'm moving it just a smidge. Now this recipe will actually make 6 spinach pies. So I've got my little log. Okay. And then what I do is I just kind of cut it up into one of these is 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Yeah. So then I cut it up into 6 little pieces. Now, if you were really like crazy, you could get out a scale and you could actually weigh it so they all weigh the same. Then what I do is I take each little ball and I make a little round ball. You can see this. I'm wrapping it basically under. I make a little round ball and I sit it in some flour on my counter off to the side. And I do it with all 6. I keep saying, whose hands are these? I've been glamorized by the twins. Hi, kitty. My kitty's telling me, pay attention to me. So now I have 6 lovely little balls. Now I'm using a rolling pin that I have that I absolutely love. Pampered Chef has a great baker's roller that you can buy that's really inexpensive. Now you notice I'm pulling that flour again, so I have a little bit of flour. Again, you don't want a lot, okay? Now at this point in the game, before I start rolling out the dough, I'm actually making sure my got my lovely pizza stone. You hear me throwing stuff in my sink, trying to get it out of the way. You see I got my stone. And my basting brush must be in the washer. Figures. Lovely thing about the stoneware is the more you cook with it, the more it seasons. But I actually like to, and I'm using my hands, and that's okay. For these, I actually like to put about a half a teaspoon of olive oil down and just run it over the surface of the stoneware. Make sure nothing really sticks to it. Now I have my little dough ball, and I actually just take it and with the palm of my hand, flatten it out so it looks like a little rectangle. And you don't do much. It's small. And those guys who've seen me post pictures of when that little thing comes out to be that big, yep, it does. And I'm going to make vegetarian ones for my daughter first, because I always make hers first. And now you see my lovely little rectangle. Oh my gosh. I just went into the pantry to get black olives, and then there was none. My olive monster has been visiting. So there will be no black olives in my spinach pies. The shame of it. Really is a shame because I like black olives in my spinach pies, but oh well. So what I have is a little flat piece, and what I'm doing is taking a medium scoop from Pampered Chef, and I'm putting cheese on the bottom half, and I might do like a scoop and a half. Okay, when you're done, you literally have separated this enough so you have just as much cheese in, you've separated the cheese equally. I have my spinach in the bowl that we put aside earlier, and I'm going to take that spinach, and I'll put the spinach literally right here so it sits on top of the cheese in the center. The cool thing is I have a couple little I have some grape tomatoes, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly take them and I'm going to slice it in half. Ooh. And I'm going to put the slices right on top of the spinach. Isn't that cute? Now, the best part is making them. So you take your little piece and you pull it and stretch it up over the top. And then you poke down the edges. Poke, poke, poke. And then I don't know if you could see this, I take it and flip it up and roll it over. And I flip and I roll and I flip, stretch and roll, stretch, flip and roll over. That way you get that pretty little pocket look. Oh, this dough is actually working out really nice. Sometimes you get a dough and it's just icky. Then I just pick it up like this, bring it over, put it on the stone, and I looked at my counter and it's really low on flour. I'm just going to add a smidge more flour to the surface. Move my spinach out of the way. And we're going to take another pocket. Again, just use the palm of my hand. Flatten it, and you notice I'm kind of pushing it together until I get kind of a rectangle, and I can stretch it out a little bit. And then just a little bit with the rolling pin. Not a lot, just a little. Shake it up a little bit so it stretches out. And then we're good. I do so it's just about my hands, the size of my hand. See that? And this goes really quick. And that's why somebody says, it's that easy? And I'm like, yeah, it's really easy. You'd be surprised how easy it is. You just have to get yourself motivated to get up and do it. And a little tomato for my girl. And then close it up. And I poke it down. And then flip and roll. And flip and roll. And I just keep flipping it and rolling it. Stretch, flip, roll. Pick it up and put it on the pizza stone. And I love my pizza stone. I'll tell you, I use it for so many things. I use it to cook my eggplants for my eggplant parmesan. I use it to cook my spinach pies, of course. I use it for pizza, which I use the exact same dough for the pizza. And if you are on my post, if I remember right, I did post my spinach pie recipe on here. If it's not, I'll post it again. And in the spinach pie recipe, actually it has the recipe for the dough. But it's really easy. 2½ cups of flour, ½ teaspoon of salt, 1 package of active dried yeast, water to about 110 degrees. Put the flour, the salt, in a bowl. And then, in a measuring cup, put your active yeast. And then when your water's 110, make sure you measure the temperature of the water. Okay? Do not get it over 110 degrees. Okay? You'll kill the yeast. Then after I do that, I mix it really, it's a cup of water. And then I mix it really well. And then I add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, literally. And I let it sit for a few minutes because it helps to activate that yeast and make that yeast bloom. And then what I do is literally after I get that done, pour it into the flour, stir it up really good till it's all incorporated. I take it out of the bowl onto a floured surface, knead it like 5 times, literally. And then what I do from there is after I've kneaded it about 5 times, I then take literally, I oil the bowl. Olive oil in the bowl, and then I make the bowl into a little ball, put it on the back of the oven with a cover on it, and about 30 minutes later it's doubled in size and it's time to work with it. What I'm doing now is I'm actually just slicing some pepperoni. For me, the carnivore, I still eat a little meat, so I do this for me, not for Catherine, because everybody who knows Catherine knows that she's now vegetarian, which I am so proud of her, because for the last 3 years she's been doing it, and she's been doing like amazing with it. That's tomato, and I usually do 3 pepperoni. Same procedure. Tap. Again, just roll it. Some escapee of the spinach escapes, that's okay. And tap, tap. Pull it out. Drop it on the stone. And we're almost done. And what I'm going to do is I will literally post pictures of these little pies when they get done, so you guys can all see how great and yummy they came out. We've got one more step to do. Yeah, one more pie to make. Ugh. There we go. I think Catherine, when she came out, thought I was talking to myself. I hate it when it escapes, but that's because you've got so much stuff in there, it's just kind of trying to get out. I am going to do an egg wash, and I'm going to wash these with an egg wash. So, and if you don't know what an egg wash is, basically I just beat up an egg and then brush the top of the pie with egg. Well, that's what I've got so far, and thank you for joining me, and I'll take pictures and show you the rest later.